Clay Sears. I'm a guitarist from Philly, from Illidale, like so many others out in this scene. Got my start back in the day with Boys to Men. One gig seems to lead to another, and here I am at Barclays with Jay-Z today, holding it down, the guitar chair in Barclays Center, loving every minute of it. It's the greatest gig ever. It's the pinnacle of hip-hop, of music. I believe this will be the music that's around after the music of this era fades. I believe that Jay-Z's music will be the classic music that you hear for decades to come, no doubt. So I feel honored to be a part of this musical situation for sure. Last year, 2011, I spent with Janet Jackson. We went all over the world. It was an amazing experience. She's such an icon, class act, and again, musically, just a great, great musical situation. You know, all those classic Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis songs are just a blast to play live. So I, again, felt very honored and privileged to have gotten a chance to work with her and do that. So it was an amazing experience. And then a lot of studio work. I do a lot of pre-records for TV shows and whatnot. Artists like Rihanna and Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas and many others, in addition to some TV shows like Divas, VH1, had a whole host of artists, Kelly Clarkson, Mary J. Blige. So it's, you know, I get around. What I try to always bring to any musical situation I'm in is respect for the records that the artists have made, first and foremost. You know, obviously you want to bring your personality into it and you want to add something extra to the music, but I definitely always start by honoring the record, listening to what's really going on there, and try to dig into what the cat played on the record, for starters. And I feel like that's such a good jumping off point, because it's always better to have somebody, you know, tell you like, oh, that sounds amazing, but can you do some more there? Can you do a little extra here? And then you can start to insert your personality into the music that way. But definitely honoring the record, knowing the music cold, and really knowing the parts, and approaching them so that it not only sounds proper, but more importantly, I think it feels proper. You know, because every record, every genre of music has its own flavor and feel to it. So you're definitely trying to cop that so that it sounds very authentic. My approach to effects and pedal boards as far as versatility and gear is very important, obviously being versatile and being able to nail different tones. The Blackstar amps, the fact that this particular model has 4 channels and those channels also have voicing switches is amazing, because on the fly, I mean, just right out of the box, I've got 4 different channels that I can choose from an amazing clean channel in this amp that I just cannot like say enough about. And then I can dial in the second channel to be like a light crunch channel, third channel's a little more gain, fourth channel's balls to the wall. So I mean, it's just amazing to have 4 distinct tones out of one amp. Then with the HT dual pedal, that gives me 2 extra sounds on top of it. And really, if you do the math, which is going to make my brain hurt to do, but you can step on the pedal in any one of those 4 channels and have even a different flavor. So I don't know how many combinations that comes out to, but more than I need. So my approach to pedal boards is definitely, you cannot have enough gain pedals of any sort. Boosts, drives, overdrives, distortions, fuzz, it's all good because they all bring a different flavor to it. And I feel like the Blackstar amps are really capable of being able to dial in very distinctly different gain sounds that, you know, each one has a different feel, and any guitar player knows, you know, one distortion pedal, one amp to the next is going to feel different. It's going to affect the way you play. It affects the way it sits in the mix. So, you know, the versatility of this amp to me is a huge asset on stage and in the studio. You know, being a hardcore stomp box guy, I always look for an amp that can produce an amazing clean sound. So to me, when I first plugged into the Blackstar and I heard the 6L6 driven clean channel of this thing, I was amazed at just the bottom end, the clarity, the bell top. I mean, everything about it was just perfect. I knew it was going to take pedals great. Then when I heard the drive channels, I was like, party bonus. You know, this is amazing to also have these extra channels available. But just that clean channel alone, if this was a 1-channel amp, I would have been blown away. The fact that it's got 4 channels, like I said, party bonus. There's no dead spots in the amp where if you play up high, it's right there, it's nice and spanky. Play low, it's got a nice low end to it. That's all you can really ask out of an amp. Clean channel. It's a winner. It's a winner. I mean, I'll play through the, this is the crunch channel. Yep, crunch. And this is not in the super crunch mode, which is a voice switch, which will give you a lot higher gain, but just the crunch. You know, even complex chords that have, you know, extensions that aren't just raw power chords, still you can hear the harmonic complexity of the chord. It doesn't just get lost in a sea of mush. And, you know, the gain on these amps is very articulate, which, you know, for me is really important, because there's plenty of times I'm adding altered notes into chords and stuff, and if it turns to mush, it just starts to sound crappy. So that's the crunch channel. Nice crunchy channel. Then you got your over the top. Not hard to coax it into feedback, which is, you know, again, amazing. One really innovative feature I think Blackstar put on their amps is the ISF circuit. And, you know, again, it's just about versatility. It's not a question of good, bad, better, worse, or anything like that. It's, I mean, at the turn of another knob, it gives you another tonal characteristic to all the channels, and also just gives you a different frequency response, and most importantly, a different feel. I mean, I think most guitar players know the way an amp feels when you play is just as important as how it sounds. You know, there's amps that sound great but don't feel right when you play through them. I think that's evidenced by a lot of digital modelers that are out there. You know, you put them in a mix and they sound great. You know, there's a ton of keyboards going on. You have this power chord going on within the mix and it sounds fine. But when you were playing the part, you know, you're going through a digital modeler, you're like, it just doesn't feel, it doesn't sag right, it just doesn't feel right. So, you know, to me, the fact that I can get all this versatility in an actual tube amp that's really, you know, doing that thing that tubes do is an amazing, amazing thing for me. And I doubt, unless I had to, that I would ever use a modeler. And I've used modelers on tours before, for entire tours without any amp. And again, sounds okay, sounds pretty good, you know, but it's not the same as playing through an amp that's cranked up with tubes going through the preamp section all the way through the power sections.